Welcome, dear learners. Population interactions are core of ecological dynamics, shaping survival, reproduction, and biodiversity. They represent the currency of ecology, where fitness gains and losses arise through relationships. From mutualism to predation, these links influence ecosystem stability and the services people depend on, such as pollination, fisheries, and disease regulation. The same species pair can shift roles with changing condition, highlighting context dependence. By blending case studies and models, we will explore how these mechanisms operate from individuals to ecosystems, equipping learners to classify interactions, prediction shifts, interpret models, and apply concepts in conservation, agriculture, and public health. Interactions are organized by fitness outcomes from mutualism to parasitism. Proto-cooperation sits within mutualism but is facultative, offering flexibility under disturbance. Species often shift along this continuum with changing environment, densities, or life stages, turning mutualism into commensalism or parasitisms and back again. The benefits cost metrics help visualize who benefits and who loses, while intimacy and lethality provide additional access. Parasitism is intimate yet non-lethal. In the short term, predation is brief and lethal, and herbivory lies in between. This conceptual framework provides the foundation of understanding the dynamics. Interactions regulate population sizes, determine coexistence, and shape community structure. Strong competitors can exclude others unless mechanisms like niche differentiation stabilize coexistence, while predators and herbivores prevent dominance and maintain diversity. These interactions drive co-evolutionary arms race, creating adaptations such as toxins, spines, or specialized floral traits. At the ecosystem level, interactions regulate nutrient cycling, energy flow, and disturbance regimes, as seen in pollination, seed dispersal, and herbivore fire feedback. Practically understanding interaction is essential for managing invasive species, fisheries, pests, and disease by revealing who interacts with whom, how strongly, and under what conditions. Ecologists study interactions with a range of approaches. Field experiments such as removal and exclosures reveal causal effects in natural settings, while lab microcosms offer control and replication. Observational time series and isotopic analysis capture natural variability and indirect pathways. Key metrics include per capita effects, competition coefficient, consumer functional responses, and the parasites production number. Interpretations is often complicated by context dependence, hidden interact effects, and temporal lags. Good practices integrate manipulative experiments, natural history, and mechanistic models with replication and transparent reporting to quantify both signs and strength under varying environmental conditions. Mutualism occurs when both partners gain fitness with currencies ranging from food and nutrients to protection and dispersal. Tropic mutualism include mycorrhizal fungi exchanging nutrients for plant carbon and coral partnering with algae for sugars. Defensive mechanisms like ants protecting acacias for nectar and shelter reduce herbivory. Dispersive mutualism involve pollination and seed dispersal, critical for reproduction and genetic flow. Networks of specialists and generalists influence stability within redundancy, buffering species loss. However, challenges arise from cheaters and variable partner quality, requiring mechanisms such as sanctions, partner choice, and spatial structure to maintain reciprocity and stability. Mechanisms help stabilize mutualisms by rewarding effective partners and penalizing poor ones. Legume rhizobia association illustrate sanctions, where plants reduce resource to nodules housing underperforming bacteria, ensuring service quality. Some mutualisms, such as mycorrhizal fungi enhancing phosphorus uptake, are byproducts of normal functions with benefits depending on soil fertility and carbon budgets. Coral algal symbiosis highlight context dependence under thermal stress. Algae becomes parasitic, leading to bleaching and mortality. Pollination webs are typically nested, where specialists rely on generalists, creating resilience against random losses but vulnerability to removal of key species, emphasizing the fragility of cooperation. Proto-cooperation is a facultative form of mutualism where both species benefit but survival is not dependent on the interaction. Its optional nature allows quick reorganization following disturbance. Examples include mixed species bird flocks with enhanced foraging efficiency and predator detection, and cleaner fish with their clients where parasites are removed in exchange for food, though neither strictly depend on the relationship. Such flexible links provide communities with resilience by maintaining ecological functions even when partners shift or disappear temporarily. Proto-cooperation highlights that adaptability of ecological networks helps systems remain functional under short-term environmental fluctuations and resource change. Commensalism benefits one species while other remains unaffected, though proving zero impact is challenging. Epiphytes on tree gain light and moisture access without measurable cost to host. Foraceae such as mites hitching rides on insect aids transport without harming carriers. Cattle egrets benefit from insect disturbed by grazing mammals without affecting them. Many commensalism are context dependent, shifting into mutualism when benefits are shared by parasites or parasites when subtle costs emerge, especially in urban ecosystems. Managers must watch for these shifts as resource abundance, population densities, and environmental pressures can redefine seemingly neutral association into more. Competition arises when species share limited resources, reducing fitness for all parties. It may be exploitative where one species depletes resource more efficiently, or interference-based involve direct aggression or chemical suppression. Apparent competition occurs indirectly through shared predators, or pathogens. The competitive exclusion principle states that two species cannot indefinitely occupy the same niche if conditions remain equal. Long-term coexistence requires niche partitioning, trade-offs, or stabilizing mechanism where intraspecific competition is stronger than interspecific. These dynamics underpin community structure and highlights the need for differentiation in space-time or strategy to maintain biodiversity. Models formalize competition dynamics and coexistence. The Lotka-Volterra framework incorporates competition coefficients, showing that each species growth is limited by both its own density and others' influence. Graphical zero growth isoclines help predict whether one species dominate, both coexist, or exclusion occurs. A general rule is that coexistence arises when interspecific competition is weaker than intraspecific. Tillman's resource ratio theory focuses on limiting resources, where the species capable of maintaining the lowest equilibrium levels wins, where coexistence depends on trade-offs across resources. These models serve as a guide through real-world variability, and evolution often reshape outcomes. Evidence for competition appears in character displacement, as with Darwin's finch evolving distinction beak sizes where they co-occur. Priorities affect show how the order of species arrival can determine long-term winners. Invasive species often succeed by combining efficient resource use with enemy release, as seen in zebra, mussels, and Argentine ants, restructuring communities. The ghost of competition past suggests that present traits may reflect historical competition rather than ongoing pressures. Moreover, indirect processes like apparent competition through shared predators can produce misleading correlations and underscoring the complexity of interpreting ecological outcomes in natural community. Herbivory occurs when consumers feed on plants and algae, often without killing the organism. Herbivores, grazers, browsers, frugivores, granivores, and miners target different tissues, shaping plant defense strategies. Plants respond with resistant traits like spines, silica, and chemical defenses, or tolerance strategies such as regrowth, storage, or phenological shifts. Herbivory cascades through communities, influencing plant composition, nutrient cycling, and even fire regime. Whether top-down control by herbivores or bottom-up control by resources dominates depend on context. Additionally, herbivores respond to predation risk, creating a landscape of fear that alters plant community structure and spatial dynamics. Herbivory is shaped by consumer functional response. Type 1 is linear, type 2 is saturates due to handling time, and type 3 is sigmoidal, offering protection to rare plants. Co-evolution drives an arms race of plant defenses and herbivory counter strategies. Optimal defense theory predicts investment in protecting valuable tissues, while inducible defense saves cost until needed. Classical examples include tropical cascading in otter, urchin, kelp systems where predators indirectly protect kelp forests. Large herbivores shape savannas by suppressing tree recruitment and interacting with fire specialists. Herbivores exploit chemical signals to locate hosts, showcasing the complexity of plant-herbivore evolutionary interactions. Predation involves the killing and consumption of prey, shaping population size, behaviors, and trait evolution. Predators vary from ambush hunters and active chasers to pack hunters, while parasitoids blur boundaries by eventually killing hosts. Prey defenses include morphological traits such as spines and armor, behavioral strategies like vigilance and grouping, and life history adaptation such as reproductive timing. Chemical defenses and warning signals are widespread with mimicry enhancing protection. Beyond direct killings, predators cause non-consumptive effects such as fear-induced habitat shifts and reduce reproduction, profoundly shaping population dynamics and community structure through both direct and indirect pathways. Predator-prey relationships often cycle, with prey increasing when predators are scarce and predators responding to prey abundance. The classic Lotka-Volterra model captures these oscillations, while responses add realism. Type 2 responses, limited by handling time, can destabilize systems, whereas Type 3 responses stabilize dynamics by protecting rare prey. Complexity arises from refuges, prey heterogeneity, and omnivory, producing dampened or chaotic patterns. Ketone predators exert disproportionate influence by suppressing dominant competitors or herbivores, maintaining diversity. Conservation and management strategies must adapt to these feedbacks, ensuring that predator recover or harvest regulations sustain ecosystem balance. Parasitism is an intimate interaction where one organism lives on or within a host, extracting resources at the host's expense, usually without immediate lethality. Microparasites like viruses, bacteria, and protozoa reproduce within hosts, while macroparasites such as worms or ectoparasites accumulate burdens per host. Parasites may have simple or complex life cycles, often requiring vectors for transmission. Parasitoids breach parasitism and predation, developing with host before killing them, and are often used in biological control. These varied strategies illustrate how intimacy, lethality, and complexity combine to structure parasitic interaction across ecosystems, influencing host health and ecological stability. Parasite dynamics depend on transmission routes: direct, environmental, trophic, or vector mediated. The key metric is R0, and the basic reproductive number. Outbreaks persist when R0 is greater than 1 but fade when it falls below 1. Evolution shapes virulence to balance transmission efficiency, with less virulent species often spreading more effectively. Hosts defend using avoidance, grooming, innate barriers, and adaptive immunity, driving co-evolutionary countermeasures in parasites. Ecologically, parasites regulate host population, alter food webs, and sometimes reduce disease risk via dilution effect in diverse communities. Thus, parasites are central ecological players with roles extending far beyond their host health impacts. Epidemiological models help explain and predict parasite dynamics. The SIR model divides hosts into susceptible, infected, and recovered class, with transmission shifting individuals between states and recovery or removal ending infections. Key parameters include transmission and recovery, with their ratio determine outbreak persistence. Herd immunity occurs when the susceptible pool drops below a critical threshold. Macroparasite models instead track parasite burden, often aggregate in a few hosts, highlighting super spreaders as management targets. Control strategies include reducing contact, limiting vectors, accelerating recovery through treatment, and vaccination. Often require combined measures to reliably suppress parasite spread. Interactions are distinguished by axes such as lethality, intimacy, obligacy, and symmetry. Context shift blur categories. Mutualism can degrade into commensalism or parasitism under stress, and herbivory may mimic predation when seedlings are entirely consumed. Apparent competition can mimic through competition, requiring careful consideration of shared predators. Real ecosystems are multiplex networks where multiple interaction types overlap. Network properties like nestedness and modularity influence stability, buffering systems against disturbance and amplifying vulnerabilities. Understanding these gradients and structure emphasizes that interactions are not static levels but fluid relationships shaped by ecological context and evolutionary pressures. Quantifying interactions require diverse methods. Experiments such as additions, removal, and exclosures reveal causal effects, while stable isotopes, gut content, and metabarcoding identify tropic links. Functional response experiments measure how consumption changes with resource density. Observational data and structural equation models can infer interaction network when experiments are impractical. Through careful model validation is essential. Reporting should include per capita effect, standardized effect sizes, and environmental context such as density, temperature, and habitat complexity. Transparent, standardized metrics allow synthesis across systems, enabling ecologists to compare findings and build a more predictive understanding of ecological interactions. Global change is reshaping ecological interactions. Climate warming disrupts phenology, creating mismatches between plants and pollinators, and shift to host parasite overlaps. Land use change fragment habitation, weakening obligate mutualism and favoring generalists. Nutrient enrichment alters competitive balance, often undermining mutualism like mycorrhizae. Predator over harvest release mesoparasite predators or herbivores, causing trophic cascades, while biological invasions through novel enemies and rewire networks with rapid, often irreversible outcomes. These changes simplify interaction webs, homogenize communities, and increase instability. Anticipating and managing these shifts require understanding not only direct pairwise interaction but also how entire network respond to anthropogenic pressures. Case studies illustrate through in action. Sea otters suppress urchins, enabling kelp forest recovery in classical tropic cascade. Ant acacia mutualism show how sanctions stabilize cooperation with plants, rewarding effective defenders. Chestnut blight demonstrates how pathogens restructure community by removing foundation species, a shipping network of mutualists, competitors, and consumers. Coral bleach highlights mutualism breaks under heat stress, where algae become harmful, driving mass mortality. Pollination networks show resilience through nestedness, buffering against random losses but collapsing under targeted removals. These examples demonstrate how context and sanctions network structure determine outcome, providing lessons for conservation and ecosystem management. Applied ecology uses interaction principles to solve real-world challenges. In agriculture, biological control with predators and parasitoids, mycorrhizal inoculation and intercropping enhances productivity and resilience. Conservation efforts restore keystone predators to rebalance food webs and manage wildlife livestock interfaces to reduce disease spillover. Urban ecology focuses on managing commensalism like pigeons and rodents, while fostering beneficial species through habitat and waste design. Public health strategies, interactions management include vector control, vaccinations, and biodiversity-based approaches to disease regulation by leveraging ecological insights. Practitioners can enhance stability, improve human well-being, and restore balance in managed and natural systems. That was all about the population interaction. Thank you for